Wah, boom, ba, boom, ba, doom, boom. Mr. Will's Music World. Hey, what's happening, everyone? Mr. Will here, and I'm out here at the Sand Hills Botanical Garden playing with this really neat percussion instrument, and that is what we're going to talk about today. Something that I love to do, and that's play percussion instruments. So let's go to my studio and talk all about percussion. Hello, so here we are in my studio. It's a little warmer inside, so I took my coat off. Now we're surrounded by a bunch of instruments that I love to play. I mentioned that this show is about percussion. Today's show, I want to show you a few percussion instruments. But first, what is percussion? Well, percussion is things that you strike, things that you pluck, things that you hit. The definition of percussion is two things that are striking one another. And when we talk about music, we're talking about striking things together to make a sound on purpose. So the music, the percussion can be full of melody, like a bird song, or it could be something that sounds like a woodpecker hitting a tree, or punching a bag like a boxer. Percussion can have a sound that resonates like a piano. A piano is also a percussion instrument. Or it could be a sound like a boom, boom, on a drum set, a drummer on a drum set. Behind me, I have a few different percussion items, and I want to show them to you. Here we have some keys, basically a bunch of keys like car keys and house keys, all strung on a piece of wood. And as they're striking each other, their sound is vibrating in the air for a long time, or resonating. It's resonating in the air. Basically, I'm using the keys as chimes. Next to the keys, behind me here, I have some bottle caps, right? Just a bunch of old bottle caps all strung on an old bamboo flute. And if I just play them like this, they make a rustling sound like leaves. Pretty cool, huh? Or I can make a sound like this, almost like a snare sound, like a snare drum, and we'll talk about that. So they can make a rustling sound, leaves moving, or a quick hitting sound. But bottle caps can also be percussion. We have some seeds here. These are really large seed pods from West Africa, the western part of the continent of Africa. So they're all different types of percussion. These are a few items that come from trees, like these seeds, or bottle caps, or keys. Percussion can be found in nature, and it can be found in the things around our home. Let's take a look at a couple other drums, like the drums behind me, that are also percussion. Now these drums are called congas. I have 3 of them here, and they all have different sizes, and they have different names. We often call them congas. Right? What do they sound like? Congas. Congas come from Cuba. Congas are also percussion, part of the percussion family. Let's look at a couple other drums. What do I have behind me? I have this really huge drum here. It's a bass drum, 28 inches. It's a big one, and it's from the 1930s. And it has calf skins, the original calf skins, like from the animal. It's also a percussion instrument. I have a tabla behind me from India. It's also a percussion instrument. Percussion instruments can be found all over the world. And in many different parts of the world, they have their own traditions of percussion. One can spend a lifetime learning just about percussion. Percussion is not just drums and bottle caps and chimes, however, but it's also the glockenspiel, or the xylophone. This is a wooden xylophone. You may have seen instruments like these before, like the marimba or the vibraphone. These instruments are also percussion. They're percussion because we use a mallet to strike the keys. These instruments are a lot like the piano. Their keys are laid out by the piano. Did you know that the piano is also considered a percussion instrument? Yes, because our fingers are striking the keys, but also because in the piano are little hammers hitting strings. And so it's also considered a percussion instrument. Although the keys, the sound of the keys being struck, they resonate for a long time. This is an mbira. We're going to talk about the mbira in another episode. It has what some people call keys, but these are really called tines. And these are also struck with my thumb and one of my fingers. And this instrument is also a percussion instrument, although the sounds resonate for a long time. So percussion is not just drums and quick hits, boom, 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 but percussion can also be like melody, like birds sing or chirping in the air. Hardly a bird song there, right? So what have we learned today? Well, hopefully we learned about percussion. I could spend a lifetime talking to you just about percussion. There's so many things to learn, and truthfully, Mr. Will is still learning about percussion. We'll talk about some other percussion instruments in another episode, like some of the drums behind me. But remember this, percussion is when you take one item and it hits another item. So drums are percussion, chimes are percussion, marimbas are percussion. The drum set is percussion. These are percussion items. Percussion can be found in nature, and percussion can be found in the things all around your home, like pots and pans. But don't get in trouble pulling all your pots and pans out and playing on them. I don't want mom and dad coming to Mr. Will and saying, hey, Mr. Will said pull out all the pots and pans. No, no, no. But those are also percussion instruments if one chooses to play them as such. All right, friends, this has been fun hanging out with you. Until next time, see you soon.
Mr. Will's Music World.